Self-knowledge. I think you really have to know yourself, understand your motivations, and be true to yourself if you're going to lead an organisation. And the minute that you're not true to yourself, you need to stop and think, pause, reflect, and get back to listening to yourself. What inspires me are people who have a creative approach to how they want to solve the problems in the world today. I think we're living in such a complicated time, and I love listening to people who approach things from a different angle or make me think about things in a way that I haven't thought of. Actually, my kids inspire me because they do that pretty much every day. Never stop learning. I think that's really the most important thing, because a person who's stopped learning has lost their appetite for wanting to change things. So I like learning. I like to find new ways to do things, and I'm constantly taking on new learning challenges, including at the moment playing the piano, which is really going back to things that I used to do when I was young. But I think that is the most important thing, to never feel that you know it all. You never know it all. When I left school, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. I was completely stuck and having very painful conversations with my dad, which always seemed to involve me kind of sitting on the sofa and him encouraging me to think about what it was I wanted to do. And he took me to see a production at the Central School of Speech and Drama. And I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to be part of that. I don't want to act, but I want to help make it happen. I want to be part of the team that did that. So I trained as a stage manager. And then I think the next big moment for me was when I was working as a stage manager in an organisation, and to my mind, I felt things were not being very well run. And I actually thought, no, I'd like to try and run something like this. I think I could do that. So I jumped track and went into theatre administration and ended up doing just that. They need to be ambitious. They need to be interested in what's going on in the world around them. They need to have an appetite, I think, for wanting to bring their particular perspective into your organisation. Because when you're interviewing anyone, partly you're assessing how they're going to fit in with the sort of organisation you are. But you also, if you're a good employer, you want to bring in people who might be going to change you a bit. So I quite like meeting brave people, ambitious people, and people who want to change things a bit. Keep calm, don't panic. I actually think it's a lot more complicated now than it was when I left. I think the opportunities, the spectrum is far broader. I think that the kind of choices people are making when they're at university give them all sorts of doors that they could open, but that means when you come out, you're kind of wondering which is the one to go through. And it feels like the first door you go through is the thing that's going to define you, but it doesn't. So don't worry about that. You're going to be a long time working, you're going to be a long time living. You know, you've got all of your 20s really to open all sorts of different doors and decide then the sort of person you are. I think there's enormous pressure on people when they leave university now, and the most important thing is to take it calmly, not to panic, and just take up the opportunities that come. Don't feel they're closing other ones. I'm really pleased to see it because I've been banging on about it for my whole career. It's been something I've been talking about and trying to engender when I was at the RSC. I can't tell you how important universities are in the spectrum of their local communities, their towns and their cities. And they have the opportunity, I think, to really be major influencers in how we live in a civic society and how we can create more social cohesion. And universities and arts organisations coming together for the common good and for their own individual good seems to me the most obvious partnership. It's been quite complicated. A lot of those partnerships have taken quite a lot of stresses and strains. But this one really looks fantastic to me. And I think it's really helping to put Bristol on the map. And it's going to be a bit of a trailblazer and an example to other people to think about how they might be able to work more in partnership together. And goodness knows, life's tough enough. Doing something on your own is crazy these days. Finding those people that you can work with and explore. This is a place for learning, and all arts organisations are places for learning. So universities and arts organisations coming together seems like the most perfect fit to me. So perhaps I should start by saying what the RSA believes the creativity gap is. If you look at poor kids in this country today, they are achieving 27% lower attainment targets than their peers at school. And this is the key issue that we want to address. And we're doing this because we're the Royal Society for the Arts, Manufacturing and Commerce, and we believe in the power and importance of creativity in society. So we call this the power to create. And we're looking at the educational sector, and that doesn't just include kids at school, it also includes kids at universities, to make sure that we can help all people through their lifelong learning unlock their own creativity. And that is because there is a huge amount of evidence today which shows that you not only need to be educated in widening your knowledge base and being able to be articulate and all the rest of those things, but you actually need to be able to unlock your own creativity if you're going to live a happy and fulfilled life and also be employed. It's the number one thing that employers say they want out of people. So the RSA is working on research projects. It's bringing people together to talk about how we can address this issue. And specifically, it's working in its academy schools to make sure that all of our students, whilst they're there, have a fully creative education. Well, I'm talking this evening about the fact that I think we're living in very interesting times. We are in a post-Brexit world in the UK, and the arts and the creative industries need to play their part in helping us to understand what it was that people were saying when they took that vote, and how we can make sure that we continue to live in an open and inclusive society. There are challenges to the way we're living at the moment. We are seeing a lack of coherence and cohesion. There are increases in people's lack of understanding, whether it's about racial differences or whether it's about religious differences. And arts and creativity are a wonderful forum which you can bring people together to debate the issues of our time, for artists to be able to approach those, to open our minds to how we're behaving and to think about how we want to be as a united kingdom, which is another thing I think that we're going to be facing a challenge on in the future. We're tending to see a separation, a desire for people to want to retreat into their own separate nations. And as we know, that's not necessarily something that the whole country wants. If I could wave a magic wand for arts and creativity in the country today, I of course want to say that we need to not just maintain but increase the investment in it. I want to centralise it and make sure that the government know that it is equally important as part of the education of a child at school, and also to make sure that we can help people across the country to live fully creative lives. There are wonderful programmes happening that engage large sections of the local communities in creative activity. It's something people really love doing, and I want to, if I could wave a magic wand, I would like more of that kind of activity to be able to take place.